Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
Vodka Vespers, the James Bond drink. My second favorite drink is Manhattan's. Yeah. But I will drink turpentine. I'll drink gas. I mean, literally, I've drunken. Is that? I've drunk. Is that proper English? I've drank gasoline. Literally. Gasoline.
Of course you drink gasoline. You're a gas man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've consumed everything. I mean, pardon? Perfume. I think I have drunk perfume.
It gets you high.
Well, I don't know. Well, I was drinking anything in those days. I mean, yeah, I mean, I literally had turpentine. Drano, I've drunk. Drano. Because it seemed like a good thing at the time.
When was a good time? Like when you were young?
Well, up until my early 30s. I mean, when oh shit, we used to suck gasoline from cars, from a tube, you know. Garden hose. Exactly. I mean, it didn't taste bad to me.
Mr. Peña, the question that I would have for you, it went through my mind today. So we've had our first exit. You've worked with an excellent group of people. Have you ever...
You're talking about you personally?
No, not in general. Like, would you, again, reuse the team of people for...
Well, the ones that added value, yes. The ones that didn't add value, no.
So one could make it part of the deal that you'd say to the company that's taking over, like, you know, I would like to have these people specifically moving on with me for the future?
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
Correct. Get the mic, moron. Teeth.
Why are there not that many mentees from Spain, Italy, and France?
Because they're lazy fucks.
Even lazier than...
No. We had a French guy here. We had a French guy here at the last seminar who was pretty fucking good. But he asked the same question, and I told him, and he said, I understand. But, you know, even though I slag off a lot of ethnicities, but within every ethnicity, there are people that can get this shit done. You can't whitewash or blanket or whatever the right word is, or maybe the wrong word, a whole ethnicity with, you know, 2 or 3 people. I mean, we've had success stories across the board. And even though I like to make fun of the Dutch, I like to make fun of the Canadians, I mean, we've had some big super successes there. You know, it's just that certain, you know, Holland is not that aggressive. I mean, as the talk I used to give back in the 90s, Holland is in heaven. I mean, it's a tremendous country. I mean, it's got so many beautiful things. I mean, you sit on those fucking canals, you can get mesmerized. You can fucking forget where you are. And I did for several years. I loved it. Although Mr. Heineken took me under his wing, so God bless him. People ask me, what could you have accomplished without Heineken? I'm not so sure, but that's not the point. I had Heineken, so fuck you, you know. And but again, I searched out these guys, you know. I searched out these high performers, these big hitters, because I knew from my experience in the military, being around generals and admirals and ambassadors and that kind of thing, I realized where I wanted to be. That's why when the general said, Mr. Danny, you know, in the civilian world you get rich, I mean, it was like, it was an epiphany to me, because I could see that I liked luxury, although as much luxury as you had as an officer, which was a lot better than not being an officer. And to the extent that I was around general officers, and admirals, etc. And I saw that they lived a lot better than anybody else. That was my life, and I was out of the military, pretty quickly. But I mean, it's, poorness rubs off, success rubs off, and to the extent that I've had the privilege of being around some very successful people. Now, the only internet kind of guy, and I don't consider Steve Jobs an internet guy, and I was around him briefly, but I wasn't around the current crop. The current crop, I don't really know. But as Bunker Hunt used to say, the real billionaires, Danny, will show in the test of time. And I'm not so sure how true that is, but I was privileged to be around those guys, and it's rubbed off, in a good way. So I have no complaints about that. How my life would have been better if I had been me maybe 10, 20, 25 years later, and I'd rubbed off, I'd been around guys like the Zuckerbergs, etc. I don't believe I would have been as powerful as I am now. I don't think I would have had the following. And I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have created the $1 trillion+ that I have. Even though it doesn't sound like much, I've created 1 million millionaires. Fuck. That's pretty dramatic. And even though $1 million isn't dog shit anymore, but I've created, a shit ton of billionaires. And when you have a mentee like Klaus Kleinfeld, God love him. I mean, Niam and some of these other guys, and the guys that are going to Russia, and Russia's not for everybody. It just isn't. But don't tell me 20 years from now, during the greatest transformation of wealth, this is before Russia, during the greatest transformation of wealth, what the fuck did you do? Now, whether your grandkids or kids ask that, it's questionable. But, I mean, in some cases, problematic. But don't say you don't have the opportunities, because they're there. You may not want to take the risk for the opportunities, but there's huge opportunities. I told you, we've isolated 1,100 asset plays, as we call them, but there's 13 or 14,000 assets that have to be divested from Russia, from Western countries that own them. Fuck, that's a lot of fucking money. Whether you do it or not, or you entertain it or not, is your challenge. Yes, sir.
Sir, you mentioned, you gave us an example of what went wrong with you with the ice cream parlor in Russia. So why this time you won't get like...
It might, but now the world telescope is on them. And now they're setting up 4, 5, 6-year deals, options. I don't believe they're ever going to pay for the option to get back in. I believe at best case they'll nationalize and take it from you. But you've got 3, 4, 5 years to make hundreds of millions, possibly billions of dollars till they take this shit away from you. I mean, why wouldn't you try? Okay, 2 or 3 of you have ostensibly a few bucks. In my judgment, you got no money, but where are you now? Well, why wouldn't you try? Yes, sir.
You said at the age of 30, when you didn't hit your goals, your face was in your lap crying. You went and saw your mentor, John Mellon? Or?
No, Jim Newman. I didn't know him.
What did he say to you in 1 hour that straightened you out?
Correct.
What did he say to you in an hour that straightened you out?
A couple hours. And he showed me that the reason at Palo Mesa, California, he had a 3-day seminar. It was about $600 or $800. And in the first cocktail hour at Palo Mesa, we talked back and forth. And he said, Dan, we'll know more in 2 or 3 days. But you're already at the top of the heap, more or less, of the Hispanic, guys. And I was. I was worth maybe $15 million or $12 million or 8 million, depending on what you want to value things at. And he said that, you know, you have more. You want to compete, and it sounds racist now, against white people. And it was like a fucking light bulb went off in my head. Fuck! And the rest was history. I mean, fuck, I hate the fucking white. And I'm not being racist now. And at that time, it was white Jews that were in Wall Street. And, you know, and I ultimately went to Bear Stearns, which was a very Jewish firm. They said it wasn't a Jewish firm, but it was a Jewish firm. And I ate the fucking Jews alive. I ate everybody alive. Didn't make them whether they're Jews, black, didn't make any shit to me. Because I was super aggressive. And they didn't differentiate in those days, alpha, male, blah, blah, blah. They only differentiated results. And I've always been able to produce results, except athletically. Now, I would be a disingenuous old man, almost 77. I wish I had some athletic ability, goddamn. I could fight, but not to, you know, ostensibly there's a couple of fighters in the audience. I would rather be a gold medal pole vaulter than a gold medal boxer. And I am, and I can still. At my age, there's not many guys my age that can still pole vault to the bathroom. Believe me. There's a lot of you guys that can't pole vault to the bathroom that are half my age. But I mean but I've always been able. I haven't been afraid to fight. I'll tell you a story, and this is on YouTube. I'm at the. Did I already tell you the Cassius Clay fight thing? Yeah, I told you. I mean. And the guy got out of the car, and he was a big fucking football player, but I hit him, and he slipped and fell down the cliff and dislocated his shoulder. I'm sure the guy would have cleaned my clock if he could have got a hold of me. But he didn't. All is well, he slipped down and dislocated his shoulder. Well, I won. You fucking ain't right, I did. But, you know, and then I'm dancing around like Sugar Ray Leonard, you know. But if he had got a hold of me, I'm sure he would have beat me to the pulp. Yeah, no, I didn't. I wasn't doing the packy. But I mean, I've never been afraid. No, I've never been afraid. I've never been afraid to hit bigger guys than me. I've never been afraid. I've never. My dad taught me you don't want to start fights, but it's better. And if the guy's bigger than you, to throw the first punch. And that's all I thought when I saw this big of that. By the grace of God, he fell down, you know, and then he's crawling up the hill, and I'm dancing around. You know, I think he could have still beat me up with one arm, but he says, I just wanted to apologize, kid. And then I felt like dog shit. I didn't act like I felt like dog shit. Then I would go back to my car, and the guys are all drunk up. I told you. But my dad told, you know, Tommy not to be a coward. And God bless him, you know. One of the famous things when he was in high school, he was an All-American gymnast in Lincoln High School. And he and his brother, who was a gymnast, not an All-American, a year ahead of him, they got jumped. There was a thing called zoot suits back in the Mexican-American community. And he got jumped of 7 or 8 guys, and they were beating him up. And my dad, he had hands like, you know, vices. He ripped the guy's face off his skull, you know. But the guy, the cops came and says, I fell down. Now, I fell down and they stitched his face up, you know. Now, just imagine, you rip some guy's face off in high school, the parents sue you, everybody sue you. In those days, back in the 30s, I fell down, okay, because he embarrassed a littler guy. My dad ripped his face off his skull. You know, it's just like now, if somebody shits his pants in school, they sue the school district. You know, yeah, correct. But when we went back to that schoolroom with Sally was there. I mean, I had chills up and down my spine, and where I dropped the aquarium out the window. But I'm so happy it didn't kill the guy. If I had killed that guy, I wouldn't be here. Now, if I killed somebody like you, the world would be a better place, you know, or you. But the teacher looked at me so pathetically. God, I'm so sorry for you. I mean, we should apologize. The school district. No. I deserved, you know. I'm just happy I didn't kill the guy. But I've dodged a lot of bullets in my life, you know. At the last minute, I didn't go to Vietnam and all this other shit. So, you know, the nuns say, you've dodged all those bullets, Danny, because you were meant to do all this shit. You know. I don't know. Oh, you know, just in case they're right, I'm paying. You know, building a nunnery in Sri Lanka, building all this other shit, you know. Sally, after we built the nunnery in Sri Lanka, the convent, she hasn't said it, but when is the end? You know, not bad question. No time soon, as far as I can tell. When the big man tells me you're a saint, I'll stop. So that's not likely to happen. So we're going to continue to do good shit. But when you have too much money, you do crazy shit, not just Thai shit, girls sucking your balls. I'm way past that stage, you know. But I can understand when you're at some of your young ages. I mean, get those nuts off as much as you can. Because sometime, unlike me, you won't be able to pole vault to the bathroom.